If you would like to learn how to make one of these really cute, soft, plush bunny cushions, then just keep watching. It's eating my fabric. Shit. Sorry. I hate pinning it. It really is cuddly.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut.
Oh my. It's really tied itself on there. Hi crafty people. Today I'm sharing with you this bunny cushion that I have made. Do you want to show it to us, Elijah?
Yes. So it's got a bow tie on the front and it's got 2 ears and it's got no face because you can just imagine it's there, and it's got a little pom-pom tail.
Yes, it does. And is it cuddly?
Yes.
Yes. It's made out of this very soft Teddy Fleece. So it's a very cuddly cushion, which makes it also comfortable to lie on, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I'll show you how to
Okay, a little example, go for it. It's almost Easter here at the moment, so I thought it would be a good time to make a bunny shaped cushion, but you could really make these cushions any shape, or you could make a bunny at any time of the year as well. So I hope that this tutorial today will give you some ideas of how you could make an animal shaped cushion for maybe a kid or maybe just for yourself. If this is your first time on my channel, then welcome. My name is Marie, and this channel is all about motivating mums to make and mend, and I share all sorts of sewing projects here that I have made mostly for my kids. If you're enjoying the video as you watch it, then don't forget to subscribe so that you can come back and see some of my future videos. But with all of that being said, let's get making!
My mum makes a bunny cushion.
The inspiration for this bunny cushion came from the LATTA creation blog, where she has made a farmhouse style bunny pillow, so I'll link that in the description box below. I saved the bunny shaped pattern piece that she had on her blog, and I put it into a Word document and changed the size of it so that it would be a suitable size for the cushion I wanted to make. So I've printed off a template here of the bunny, which I won't actually be able to share this file with you because I was using that image from the website that I mentioned. So you'll have to go onto the website too and download the pattern that they have made and just enlarge it like this. So what I've done is just cut the bunny in half to enlarge it so I don't have to print 4 pages. And I'm going to stick these two together here so that it makes one bunny shape, and then use that dotted line as the fold of the fabric when I cut out the bunny shape. And that will hopefully make it the right size to be a good cushion. I have this one here which I made when I was 14 years old when I was at school. It is a lion one and has some applique lion face on it, and yes, like I said, I made it in high school, so I'm kind of judging the size roughly on this, although this one is obviously a lot narrower and taller, but the rough general size will be sort of like that. So let's stick our bunny template together and get ready to cut it out of our fabric. Decided to make him a little bit chunkier at the bottom there, just that'll be the part you're leaning on mostly, so I figured that part might as well be a little bit bigger. So now I'm going to take this to my fabric, fold the fabric in half, and then cut out 2 of these shapes, one for the front and one for the back. I think I actually want him to have a little bit more girth in his nether regions, so I'm going to actually angle it this way instead of putting it on the fold, and that will give it an even bigger base that you're going to lie or lean on. Make sure your scissors or rotary blade are really sharp to cut through this type of fabric as well. Yee, he's so fat. So I've cut out one, and I'm going to now use this as the pattern to cut out another by turning this right side down and just cutting around this piece on the other one so that they're both the same. Along with our 2 pattern pieces, I also have a keyring pom-pom thing here, which is going to be a little bunny tail, which will be decoratively on the front, but practically you're going to be flipping the cushion over so you can not lie on it. I don't think it would be particularly comfortable to lie on, but I think it'll make a cute little bunny tail there. So that's going to be sewn on down here. You're also going to need thread that matches the color of your bunny, which for me will be grey. You're going to need a hand sewing needle because we're going to be hand sewing our pom-pom onto our bunny's backside. You're going to also need some stuffing, and I am using this old pregnancy pillow, which I would say served me well, but really it didn't do very much. It was a cheap one from IKEA. It just looks like this. It has already split open here to expose the stuffing, so it's not fit to be passed on to anyone else. So I'm going to take the stuffing out of this and use it for this cushion. So along with all of those things, I'm also going to be cutting out a gusset. Now this will just be a long rectangle piece of fabric, the width that I want my height of my cushion to be. I'll show you on the other one. So on this cushion here, you can see I've made a flat shape like this and a flat shape on the back, and on the side there's actually a rectangle that's going the entire way around the cushion like this. This one is 6 centimeters across, so my rectangle I'm going to cut will be 9 centimeters wide, and then it needs to be the length around your cushion. So I'm going to just cut the length of my fabric, just cut the whole way, 9 centimeters the whole way around, and yeah, hopefully it fits. The professionalism on this channel, that's what you're coming back for, isn't it? You're coming back because I'm so darn professional.
I folded the length of my fabric over on itself and then pinned it together so that it wouldn't slip as I was cutting out the gusset piece. Then once it was cut, I decided I probably should check if it was going to fit, so I measured around my bunny shape to see what length I needed the gusset to be.
So it measured about 195 centimeters all the way around. So I am going to need 2 pieces, I think. Let's just check. This is folded in half. 81 multiplied by 2 because it's folded in half. 160. Yeah, we're gonna need a bit more. But we won't need a whole strip more, so I'll just do a little bit.
I cut out the gusset piece that I had already marked, and then I used that as the template to then cut out a second shorter piece.
So here are all our pieces. We have our long strip here, which I cut a bit extra because it wasn't quite long enough. So we're going to start by sewing these 2 strips together, just a not straight stitch because this is a stretchy fabric. We're going to do a stretch stitch, which is like a little lightning bolt, or you could do a zigzag stitch. We're going to do that just along here so that these 2 pieces then become one super duper long piece. So we're going to do that.
If you're using a stretch fabric like me, don't forget to change to a stretch needle and change the settings on your machine to a stretch stitch.
It's having a bit of trouble feeding through this thick fabric using this stretch stitch. So I'm going to swap to a zigzag stitch, which is a bit wider, see whether it has a bit of an easier time because the stitches will be a bit looser being a bit wider, and hopefully that'll help it feed through. It's eating my fabric. We really are quite stuck.
Taking the bobbin out and cutting off my top thread did not help in this situation. I needed to take the entire base plate off to free this fabric.
It's really tied itself on there.
With my entire machine basically taken apart, I was then able to cut my fabric free from the base plate.
Got it. Well, that was a pain in half. Guess I have to put the machine back together. All better.
I then changed to a wider zigzag stitch rather than the thin, narrow little lightning bolt stitch, and that did work a lot better on this fabric.
And we also have our 2 bunny pieces and our little fur ball here. I'm going to take off this key ring that it's attached to, the key chain. This is why my floor's always messy. It's got this little piece of elastic here, so I'm going to use that to hand sew it onto the back of my bunny here.
I folded the bunny in half to work out where the center point was so that I knew I was putting the bunny tail in the correct spot, and then I just did lots of hand sewing stitches to hold it in place.
I know my kids and I know they're going to pull this a lot, so I'm going to hand sew this on quite securely. If yours is just a decorative cushion, or you don't have children, then you might not need to hand sew it quite so firmly. But I have 4. That means 8 hands. That means lots of hand sewing stitches.
Just cut a machine. I'll get that.
We're going to start with one of our bunny pieces, and you can hold the other one. And I've got my long strip of fabric here, and I'm going to use one of the long sides of it and pin it the entire way around the bunny. But I need to leave a little bit here hanging, overhanging, not pinned or going to be sewn down, because then I'm going to have to stitch that to the other end once I loop around.
So I'm going to leave a bit of a tail here. And so...
Is that a tail for the bunny?
I don't mean a tail for the bunny, I mean a tail for my stitching.
I recommend you use a lot of pins as you do this to hold the edge of your gusset strip directly against the edge of your bunny shape. It is hard to maneuver around all of these little intricate parts of the ears especially, so you want to make sure you pin it really securely.
So I've made it the whole way around, pinning this gusset in place like this. And I have my extra bits either side. So I'm going to sew as close as I can to each other here, and I'll cut that bit off afterwards.
Again, I'm using a zigzag stitch as I did before, and I'm using a 1.5 centimeter seam allowance because that's what I allowed when I was cutting this gusset. So I'm just sewing all the way around the bunny shape, following the curves and the intricate parts of the ears and everything to completely sew around the bunny shape, attaching the gusset to this one side.
Here is what it's looking like so far. We have sewn all the way around the bunny shape like this so that the gusset is attached to this one side. And the next thing that we're going to do is to finish off these edges so that they're attached to each other. I'm going to sew it along here, cut off the excess, and then finish stitching this part in place so that the whole gusset is complete the whole way around and finished off on this side here.
Before sewing these two ends of the gusset together, I pinned them together and then drew a line where I wanted to sew just to make it easier to see where I was going because there was a lot of fabric and a lot of fluff going on. I decided it would look cute to have a little bow around the neck area of this bunny, so I grabbed some ribbon and I tied it into a bow, and I used a match to burn the edges of the ribbon to make sure that it wouldn't fray, and then I just simply hand sewed it in place. Now that the bunny's tail and bow are all hand sewed on, I'm ready to put the back part of my bunny and attach that to the gusset. I put the back part of the bunny right side down on top of the front of the bunny so that I was able to line it up correctly before pinning the gusset along it. Then I pinned this long side of the gusset along the whole back side of the bunny, and I found that having the pins sideways to where I was going to sew was a much easier way to both pin it around the corners and also made it easier to sew it. As with all the other sections, I'm using a zigzag stitch to sew around this part of the gusset, and I'm leaving a gap to make sure that I can turn it out the right way, ready to stuff it. I turned the bunny out the right way using the hole that I left, and then I was able to use the stuffing from the old pregnancy pillow and shove it into the bunny. I made sure that I started at the very top at the tip of the bunny's ears, and I pushed the stuffing really firmly up into the bunny's ears and then worked my way down the bunny, pushing it as firmly as I wanted the cushion to be until I'd completely filled it all the way up to the hole. The last step in this project is to hand sew the hole closed. So I put some grey thread on my hand sewing needle and I just did a ladder stitch going in and out on one side of the fabric and then in and out on the other side to sew this hole closed. This fabric is quite forgiving with hand sewing stitches because it is really fluffy and it hides all my stitches, so they weren't very neat stitches and yours might not have to be either. If you do want to learn how to do a ladder stitch, I'll link a hand sewing video down below if you'd like to learn how to do that.
I like it. So there you have it. Thanks for joining me today as I shared the process of making this bunny cushion. And if you have a go at making one of these bunny cushions for yourself, I'd love to see a photo. You can tag me at mymum.marie on Instagram, or you can send it to me on Facebook as well.
Or you can make any animal and show a photo to Mama.
Sure, yeah. If you make a different animal, I'd love to see that too. Is that good?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Or any of my other projects, that'd be great. If you do want to watch any of my other projects after this, there'll be some linked in the description box, or a few will pop up at the end of this video as suggestions for you. So thanks for joining me today, and until next time, go get creative and we'll see you later.